Alright guys, welcome back to Baja Books.
Bro, I am so excited. Are you guys excited?
I'm so
Are you excited to
Get out! Yeah, today we're going to be talking about a new book, Elantris by Brandon Sanderson. We're going to be covering the prologue through chapter 4. For some reason, if you skipped the last episode, there will be MISTBORN spoilers at some point, probably, or we will be like referencing MISTBORN. Just watch out for spoilers. If you haven't read MISTBORN, probably go read that first. Yeah. Patrick has already read Elantris, even though I told him not to. And I kept being like, Patrick, stop reading. And
to be fair, I started reading it because you said a long time ago that we were going to talk about the MISTBORN books, but then it was like 6 months had passed. I was like, okay, I kind of want to read Elantris. You know?
That's fair. To be fair, Elantris is one of, like, if you had read Way of Kings or something, then I would have been like, oh, come on. But Elantris is one of the ones it's shorter, it's self-contained as of right now. But, yeah, so...
Is it connected to the rest of the series?
Yes. Oh, almost most of Brandon Sanderson's books take place in, like, the Cosmere as a whole.
Okay.
It's self-contained in the sense that...
I'm kind of interested to see how it connects them, because so far I'm very confused.
Yeah, it'll make more sense as you go along.
Okay.
But, yeah, so Dylan is a newcomer to Elantris, and Patrick will just give his thoughts and stuff. He said he has notes, so we can go over that.
Let me go grab those.
Yeah.
I also got to put away my contacts.
Yeah.
My eyes hurt.
But so far, I'm not enjoying it too much, because I'm assuming it's kind of because it starts at the beginning, but it feels like they're just kind of like 3 non-connected stories so far. Like, so because they're, having to start off 3 separate stories, nothing really interesting has happened. Because they have to give you the prologue and setting before they can start having stuff happen.
Yeah. So I'll probably, I'm not going to read out, the chapters because that would just take too long, but I'll sort of go over them and we can talk about, what you were thinking, as the chapters were going on and stuff. So Prologue's pretty short. It's just kind of a thing about Elantris and how it looked and how it was like a wondrous marvel pretty much. And the Elantrians were white-haired, metallic silver, and the city itself shone. And they were basically immortal. They healed quickly, great strength, insight and speed, stuff like that. Performed magic with the wave of a hand. It says men visited Elantris from all across Opalon, which I don't have the map with me, but Opalon is one of the bigger continents. So yeah, basically the Elantrians were micro gods, and anyone could become one when the Shroud struck. I think that's how you pronounce it.
It's like Shroud or Shaod.
Shaod, yeah. I think it's Shaod, yeah. Yeah, so struck randomly, and it would just basically hit anyone and turn them into an Elantrian. And then 10 years before the book starts, it self-destructed or turned in on itself. And then we get to chapter 1. Yeah. Any thoughts from the prologue from either of you?
I don't know. I thought it was
a pretty good hook.
I thought it was kind of interesting that they were described as metallic.
Yeah.
That was an interesting way to describe it.
Well, probably reading it coming from MISTBORN.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was metal.
To be fair, though, when I was reading it, originally, my first thought was kind of Silver Surfer, like that. Maybe not quite as metallic, but that was kind of the vibe that I got.
Yeah, but that, but with flowing, majestic hair.
Yeah.
I also just imagine like a big head of hair, like an 80s rock band head of hair.
Yeah.
Also, so Opalon, that's the continent that all the different countries and territories take place in, right?
Yeah.
Or is that the planet it takes on?
That's why am I blanking on the planet name? That is not the planet, that's the continent that they're currently on. It's one of the continents.
Yeah, so that's where Arlon and
does it go into space at some point? Because you were talking about there's more than one
comment.
planet.
No comment.
The 4th era MISTBORN is going to be a sci-fi.
Yeah.
Makes sense. Brandon, because I don't know him personally, but he feels like he's just such a big history nerd.
Yeah.
Just the way that he writes about history and stuff in such a big detail. It's
he loves maps.
It's it feels like this
loves
dude
maps.
Went into his history class and went, wow, I love this. I feel like if he wasn't a writer, he would be a history teacher.
Yeah. Yeah, he does a really good job with history and societies and stuff like that. I know some people hate it because they're like, oh, this isn't realistic, or like this would never happen. But like it seems for a fantasy world, like this is pretty close to how I feel like it would work.
Yeah, it doesn't feel very outlandish to me. It feels pretty like realistic in my opinion.
Yeah. Yeah, I get like heavy Silver Surfer vibes from that the introduction though.
Wasn't this written in like the early 80s?
No,
it's
it came
like
out in
2005.
2005.
Yeah. I get like Silver Surfer vibes, but I think it's also interesting that it's noted that the city also shines, and it's also like big Silver Surfer city. Like it kind of gives like Wizard of Oz vibes.
Yeah, like the Emerald City, except instead it's metal.
Yeah, or not metal, just like metallic and shiny.
Yeah.
I don't even think it mentions like metal at all. It just says that the skin is almost a metallic silver.
Probably looks almost futuristic, like chrome
Yeah.
or something.
Yeah, it's like in SpongeBob, where just
Everything's chrome in the future.
Which is interesting because everything else in Elantris is like farms and feudal systems and stuff. So it's like you just have futuristic cities smack dab in the middle.
Yeah. I just imagine just someone who hasn't heard of it just comes across and just like, whoa,
What the heck is this?
They start freaking out.
Yeah. So chapter 1 is Prince Raoden. Pretty sure that's how you say it. Of Arleon.
Arlon. I say Arlon.
Yeah, Arlon. Is him waking up, and it goes into how he has the Shroud, but it mentions they're in the smaller city of K where he lives, and you can kind of see like the walls of Elantris, except they're now like black and grimy and dark. The people of K try to ignore that, and 10 years ago is when the Shroud came. Shroud. I gotta like remember how to say it. Shroud, yeah. And so it's kind of just him waking up, and I really like that it kind of sets the tone by he wakes up and there's like the just enormous city walls in the distance, like covering everything in shadow. I really like that imagery.
I also thought it was interesting how there was like he was hungry. He was never hungry.
Oh yeah.
God, bro.
Why does that matter later or something?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, you read chapter 4, so you should know.
I might not have read chapter. I might have read up to chapter 3 then.
Okay.
Okay, we'll see. But yeah, it mentions he's like super hungry, almost ravenous.
He's like, I'm starving, but I'm never hungry.
I'm so hungry.
I'm famished.
Yeah, because I think it's words that he used, like famished even.
Yeah, he says almost ravenous.
How about your liver?
Yeah,
It's just like that one where it's just like, man, I'm so hungry. And it's just like...
How hungry is the horse?
Just how hungry.
Yeah. And then he calls for Len, which it mentions is his Sion. It mentions again that Elantris is like an enormous ebony block. Not really a city anymore, just a corpse of one. And like the image I get is just a big old like metal black hunk, and then like a super small like farm village kind of city and like right next to it.
Yeah.
Almost like everywhere else is thriving, and then that's just like this huge like shadow over the city.
Mm-hmm.
Almost menacing.
Yeah, and then we get the maid old Elio.
Wait,
I don't know how to pronounce it. Elio.
Eleo.
Eleo,
Eleo.
yeah.
Eleo. I think
Eleo.
it's Eleo.
Yeah, he comes in, sees he's different, and drops her tray and says, "Merciful Domi," which...
Oh, yeah. Bro, I've been saying that to myself a lot recently. Merciful Domi.
Yeah, which...
Does that get elaborated more on later? Because I'm assuming Domi is just like their god.
Yeah.
Like, okay.
Yeah, at some point.
Okay.
And...
Like, I heard it a couple times, and like, what the heck does that even mean? What are
Merciful
they talking
Domi. It's just a cool swear, like, Merciful Domi. Like, yeah, it's very cool. And then she, like, reaches up to grab the Karathi pendant. Karathi, I'm pretty sure that's how you say it.
Korathi.
Yeah, which is their main religion. And then basically, okay, he's an Elantrian. I think they're still called Elantrians, or like the Sheod. Shout. I gotta like.
Shared.
Yeah, I gotta realign my brain so I actually say it correctly.
These the
They're
word
all made up
choice
words.
is so hard to figure out how they're supposed to be pronounced.
I love it when fantasy stuff just makes up words. You
And
know?
I think,
Well, they have a set of rules of how they're supposed to be pronounced.
yeah, it's something to do with Sanderson creating a language for Elantris.
That is
Like,
such a big nerd thing to do.
yeah.
I want to write this book, so first I got to make this whole language.
Yeah, so it is worth noting that his hair changes from sandy brown to limp gray. So he still has hair, even though the Elantrians were mentioned to like have their like bright white hair. So he's not like bald like Silver Surfer or anything.
Yeah.
Which
At least not right now.
yeah. And sickly black patches, like dark bruises, the Sheod had come upon him, which I get like, you know, those lepers in like the church videos.
Yeah.
That's
That's
kind
kind
of
of
what I
sounded
think.
like to me.
Yeah.
And then they take him and they just
Yeah, I think that's how I
put him
mentioned too.
in
Almost just like
Elantris.
rotting skin.
Yeah, rotting
Yeah.
skin. Yeah. And then they take him and they dump him in Elantris. And it's mentioned his father, King Iodin, hadn't meant his gaze as he ordered the priest to prepare his son and throw him into Elantris. He couldn't afford to let it be known that the crown prince was now an Elantrian. And yeah, 10 years ago would have made him like a silver-skinned deity, and now it's just sickly monstrosities in there. And then it's mentioned that the shroud was the thing that happened to other people, distant people, who deserve to be cursed, which is that's a nice way of looking at it. And then high walls lined with guard houses and soldiers. Men intended not to keep enemies out of the city, but to keep its inhabitants from escaping. So they don't want the Elantrians coming out.
Yeah.
Which I don't like.
Yeah, it feels just like
It's like,
Like leprosy.
they haven't done anything. Like at least it stops
I mean,
saying stuff.
Oh wait.
Because at this point, it's like
No, I'm just saying like
We don't-
they're all sick and gross looking, so they probably do have a disease.
they probably assume that they're
I
sick.
believe
But
they say that like it's not contagious, but they don't like them and they're worried about it being contagious.
yeah. Fallen City becoming an expansive tomb for those whose bodies had forgotten how to die. So that's another thing mentioned. They can't die. They're still functionally immortal. And then he kind of gets up, walks around, and the priests say the nightmare just like keeps going, and he just keeps walking and walking.
Yeah, and then the guys, then he meets like a kid. It's like basically dead, and then these guys come.
and they come and they smash his head.
Yeah. The like walls are covered in like a weird, slimy, oily substance that had an equalizing effect on Elantris's colors. So it's like a single greenish black sewage like color.
Yeah,
Just
everywhere.
everything is just like a greenish sewage color. And yeah, he meets the kid, and let's see.
Because they do mention that like you can kill them, but you have to like completely burn the bodies, and that's it.
Yeah. Yeah, it's mentioned they have like a ritual Karathi sacrifice. This is like a basket with vegetables and grain and wine and stuff. And then he kind of, where is it? Yeah, stench is overwhelming, omnipresent sludge and a musty, rotten scent like dying fungus, which that kind of just feels like when I walk into someone's house and you can tell it hasn't been cleaned in a while.
Yeah,
Let's just
I was
not
like-
say anything, bro.
You can say stuff, just stop being like, well, later on.
No, I'm talking about my house.
Oh,
Oh no,
I wasn't
I
gonna-
didn't view him as like towards yours.
I was
it as,
thinking like Zach's apartment or
yeah,
something.
like, that's what
Or,
I
like,
was thinking.
yeah, like the roaches across the floor and
Yeah.
stuff.
Which I mean, to be fair, just all the places there have roaches. It's not like them specifically. But at the
Yeah.
same time,
Yeah. Yeah, and so they meet the 16-year-old, and then he's like, "Food, please," and then he gets beat up.
and then these guys
His
come
head
and
gets
beat him
smashed
up.
with like a hammer or something. and-
Yeah.
Anyway, and then the prince who came in gets all of his food stolen.
Yeah, because he's like watching them just beat up the kid, and
He's
yeah,
like, that's fine. I don't need this.
he's like, "Fine, you know what? I'm gonna just give you guys this," and then he just kind of runs, And
Then he meets Jamaican dude.
let's see.
Like that's what I read him as.
Jindoese. No, he's not Jindoese. He's Daru. I forgot what they're called.
Yeah.
I'm trying to find it.
Duradel.
I don't know. I pictured
Doula.
him.
He's a doula.
Yeah,
I
he's a
pictured
doula.
him as a Jamaican guy.
Yeah, he's like hiding in some debris, and he's like, "It looks like they forgot about you, Sewell."
Yeah. And then
I'm
he just
assuming
gives
Sewell
him-
means like friend or
Yeah,
something.
Yeah.
with how it's used
Yeah, it
throughout the
means
book,
friend.
it definitely means like friend.
Like, and then he just gives him the exposition dump.
Yeah,
of-
the exposition dump.
Yeah. You can tell this is one of Brandon's earlier works because there's stuff like that where there's the character
The guy
shows up
shows
and is like, "All right, stranger, here's the expedition
Hello,
dump."
guy I just met. Let me explain the rules around here.
Yeah, so
and then
he's
he's
not
like-
from Arlen.
Yeah. You can't die. Your wounds
Which, like,
won't heal.
literally no person who's thrown into Elantris acts like that at all.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
everyone keeps to themselves unless they're part of the gang.
They're all like falling around just screaming and stuff.
Yeah.
And he's like semi-lucid. And yeah, wide hands, keen eyes, and dark-skinned face. And he's like, "We can't be dying because we're already dead, Colo," which Colo,
Just
I'm
means
assuming,
understand.
like understand, yeah. And Galudon from the Sovereign Reign of
Kovo-
Duladel. That's what
Kovo
it
comes
is.
across to me as like savvy, like how they
Yeah.
say in Pirates of the Caribbean. Like how at the end of everything, Jack Sparrow's just like savvy.
Savvy. Yeah, it is that vibe.
Yeah.
Yeah, so Duladel, that's where he's from. Land of sludge, insanity, and eternal perdition. Nice.
Yeah. But I do like how he's just like, hey, could you like escort me around so I understand what's going on here? And he's like, why would I do that? And he's like, I could give you this piece of jerky. And
He's like, "Yo,
jerky.
she'd be for my jerky till like $7 a bag."
Yeah.
Yeah.
More like $12 now.
It's probably closer to 12, yeah. It's mentioned that Duladel's mixed blood, Arelish, which is the place that Raoden's from, Fjordel, and
Fjordell.
Fjordel, yeah, and Teoish. And then, yeah, Raoden mentions that, like, "Oh, I stubbed my toe, but it's not going away." And,
He's just like, yep, they do that.
yeah, so the body, like, it kind of goes into it, but it's like, because they're immortal, functionally immortal at least, it repairs itself, but it doesn't fully repair itself.
Yeah.
So-
pain lasts forever.
Yeah, you're just stuck with everything that happened.
Yeah. Which, I mean, you know, if that was happening to me, I would also probably keep to myself unless somebody gave me jerky.
Yeah, and then Raiden's like, "Yo, that kid, he might be cooked." And it's like Ido stole me.
That kid, he's donezo.
He's done so.
Yo, he got that brain rot.
Yeah, Galadin's like, "Yo, there isn't much left for this one."
Wouldn't want to be that guy.
Yeah.
Yeah, and he mentions that, yeah, they burn. And then it mentions all the religions. He's like, he doesn't have a soul, Galadon said. So the priests tell us. Karathi, Derethi, Jesker, they all say the same thing. We're damned. So those are the, like, three main religions.
Jaskar doesn't really have too much significance on the story. Like, it's
Well,
mostly
don't
about...
tell him that, Kraka.
Oh, I was telling the audience. I didn't know. I mean,
He
I don't
hasn't
think-
read the
I don't think
book
it's
yet.
that, like,
Okay.
important, though.
So is religion not as big in this book?
No, it's super huge. It's just
Oh, okay.
mostly about the...
Yo, you want to know
mostly
what else
about
is super
Karathi,
huge?
The...
It was real big in the other book. Like,
No,
You're
it's
telling
not
you want to know what
huge.
else was still real big?
yeah.
The low taper fade meme. Yeah, so it mentions that if you burn them or cut off their head, that'll, like, supposedly stop them existing, but also it could just be because their body is in so much pain, it just becomes like they're just gone, essentially. And then he's like, "Yo, I don't have a heartbeat." And he's like, "Bro, you're dead. I've been telling you for like the last 10 minutes,
Yeah,
dude.
he's like,
You're dead."
stupid.
Yeah, he's like, "Stupid."
Yeah, but he keeps saying stuff, and he's like, "Bro, I just told you."
Yeah.
One second, I gotta go. Don't my booger away.
Bruh.
Ain't no way. What's he putting away?
You want some cherry coke?
Oh my gosh, I'm sweaty.
Bro, why doesn't you want my cherry coke?
Bro, Titus loves cherry coke.
Come on, Fred. Yes, please.
Oh,
Do you not have any more? Any more what? There's in the fridge.
Oh, my butt is so sweaty, bro. Your couch makes me sweat like a motherfucker. What else makes me sweat like a motherfucker? No way. Yeah, my butt's probably like soaked right now, bro.
Wait, hold on. Because earlier you guys were talking about how Vin was like still a minor. Vin, by the time of the third book, is no longer a minor.
She is.
No, she's not. She's
Yeah.
like,
Their years are different than ours.
what?
Yeah, it's something that'll get into with the like in ours arcane.
Oh,
they have,
because they moved the sun closer.
yeah.
Or no, they moved the planet closer to the sun. But
Yeah.
Anyway,
was like, yes, I found a loophole. Wait a second.
but also it's like a book, you know.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, there's a lot more math involved there than I care to do anyway.
That's annoying that they changed the years. So it's like, how old are they in like human years? I don't know.
It gets explained later. Like there's like planetary essays in the Ars Arcanum that talk about like the gravity and density and stuff.
Really?
Yeah,
It's wild.
yeah. Bro thinks through everything. Like,
Imagine how weird it would be for the people, you know, because it's already like, whoa, green, sky blue.
yeah.
And they're also like, I feel like this year's just dragging on. No, you're right.
Yeah.
It's like this year has been going on for like,
It's like been going
however
on for
much
a
longer
while.
than normal.
It's weird.
Anyway, I thought that was. Anyway, it's just something I remembered. There's a lot of stuff that the book goes into.
All right, let's continue.
Okay, yeah. So it goes back into them like arguing about food and him being like, yo, I will pay you if you take me around. And the dude's like, what if I just kill you and take your food? And he's like, you call me your friend. You call me Sewell. How could you kill me now?
You were nice to me. Why would you betray me? People don't do that.
And he's like, okay, fine, you
Right.
got me. You got me. You're right.
The jig is up.
The jig is up. Which I think that's kind of funny. Bro's only known him for like 15, maybe 30 minutes, and he's already like, yeah, you got me. I called you friend. Like, I'm not going to kill you. Come on,
I don't
bro.
kill my friends. Like, it is also, I did also like how when he gets the jerky, he like immediately goes to eat it, like just out of instinct, it says.
Yeah.
But like, and then he's like, wait, no, can't do that.
Can't do that.
But-
Hold on a second.
Because I had a similar thing happen where like I was clearing off a table at the old folks' home, and there was a thing of pills, and I picked up the pills. And my
Dude,
brain-
old people are going crazy.
and then my brain went, put the pills in your mouth, and I went, okay. I'm like, what? No, these aren't mine.
Bro's taking his Dementia pills.
But like something about my brain just went, yeah, put that in your mouth. And I'm like, okay.
Yeah. Any thoughts about the first chapter from either of you?
I don't know. Like,
I think it's a pretty solid chapter. I mean, you're kind of thrown it right into it. All of a sudden, his life's just torn apart. He's getting ripped from his home and then just thrown in this depressing, disgusting city.
I wish that there was a little bit less exposition. Like, as far as like the guy just like explaining everything to him.
That's fair.
I think it would have been better if it was a little bit spaced out, where it's like they do stuff and then he's like they run and then he puts his hand on his heart because he's like breathing heavily. He's like, "What? I can't feel my heartbeat." You know,
He's like, yeah, bro, you know, you don't have a
stuff
heart.
happening. Like,
It is a little exposition heavy.
so it's
yeah.
not just all at once.
Yeah.
I would have liked that a little bit better.
I do really like the way the city and the inhabitants are like it's kind of a play on like zombies.
Yeah.
Like it is kind
Yeah.
of just a zombie play, which I think is cool. And then chapter 2, Sarene, but I just call her Sarene because I'm not.
Yeah.
It's supposed to be pronounced like
I think it's
Sarene or something.
I think it's Sarene. I call her Sarene or
Sarene, yeah, Serene, either one. Yeah, and so she gets off a ship, and she discovers she's a widow, which Raoden is the one she's engaged to, and now
Everyone's like, "Yup, he's dead."
everyone's like, "Yo, he's dead." That's great. And
She has her glowing orb with her.
like the first mention of it is a melon-sized ball of light. Like,
I'm
I
pretty
think-
sure she has a couple others too.
Yeah. And so yeah, she's shown up and she's like, "Yo, I'm gonna get married," and then she gets off and she's like, "Never mind, I'm not gonna get married."
Yeah, like she even shows up early so she can meet him before their wedding, and then he's just dead.
Yeah, and it specifically like says inside the contract that it's legally binding even if either of them die before the actual wedding ceremony. Which,
Like, I mean, don't tell me whether I'm right or not, but it kind of makes it sound like the way that was written, like it was done on purpose, perhaps. Like,
I think every law is written on purpose.
yeah.
No, like someone specifically put it in for their
I feel like that's
thing.
a pretty like standard old
like
school.
someone was intending for him to like get sent to Elantris.
That would have been like a 16-year plan in the making or something, or 25-year
Yeah.
plan in the making.
Yeah.
Well,
I feel like
know
that's
how
a
the whole
pretty
thing
common
works.
clause. Like they even mention it, like it's a fairly common clause. The way the treaty of the political marriage isn't voided if something happens to one of the participants. Which if I don't know what the standard living age for back in the dark ages
It was like 30.
but I'm sure they were like, yeah, you could just drop dead tomorrow, so we
Yeah.
got to make sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, because like if you got engaged and you waited like a year, you were really risking it.
Yeah. Yeah, it's mentioned the ball of light's name is Ashe. I think it's Ashe. It's either because it's not Ash. Or maybe it is Ash.
I just pronounce it Ash. It's
Okay, we'll just go with
easier.
Ash. That's way easier. Yeah, where does it mention what place she's from?
She's from Teod.
Teod. Okay, yeah. I need my map so I can. Yeah, and then
Which is all the way across the ocean.
yeah, they go across the
Yeah, maybe if she wasn't so far away, he
Jordan
wouldn't have died.
Sea. Next page.
I think it was her fault. She
Yeah.
shouldn't have lived so far away.
Yeah, and so there's a whole thing about she's like, "Yo, my husband's dead. Can I see him?" And they're like, "Haha, no." She's like, "Bro, he's dead. Just let me see the casket." And they're like, "Haha, no."
Yeah, it was like
Yeah, that
it
was
was like they didn't want to disrespect his face because it was super disfigured.
When in reality, he's
not.
he's
there.
in the city.
Yeah, well, his face is disfigured.
And she's like, "Yo, something doesn't feel right."
Like she's like, "Hey, giant orb of
There's
light."
no
something
reason for
feels
me
off
to believe
here."
this, but something's not right.
Yeah, something's not right.
I can sense it with my womanly intuition.
Yeah. And then there's kind of more stuff about, yo, Elantris is just kind of up there and it's huge and it's gross and it's dark. And she's like, "Yo, that is a huge, gross, dark city. Does anybody live there?" And yeah, it's mentioned there's only a couple of like viable ports on the Arlish coast.
Yeah, and that's why
Because-
they're next to Elantris.
Yeah. And it's because the other side, I think, I don't have the map, but I'm pretty sure it's just straight mountains.
Yeah, and at least a Fjordell.
Yeah, and then Fjordell's on the other side.
And then right below is Guladel.
So it's like the only way they really have to go is like those few ports. They kind of blabbing about the wedding party, Teod, and how originally they were gonna have like a treaty with the Arlish government, and then the Raoden struck, and apparently everyone worldwide was just like, "You know what? We're gonna leave you guys alone because we don't want to get infected." And she starts yakking with the new guy, the king. And she's like, "Yo, this dude doesn't look like he even cares about his son. Bro is chilling and his son is dead." And he's like yapping.
Foolish woman.
I did like how later she talks to her dad and like complains about the king, and then he's like, "Oh well, it's sad that like the guy died, but anyway." And then like she's like, "It's a good thing that it doesn't show a picture; it just shows like a copy of like how my mouth is moving, because then he wouldn't see the single tear streaming down my face." Like that feels like a scene out of a movie.
Yeah.
It's like okay, that feels like a little bit much, but okay.
Yeah, basically this whole section is just the king being a sexist prick. And he's like, "Take this one to her rooms and see that she's playing things, keep her occupied, embroidery or whatever else it is that entertains you, woman." It's like, bro,
That's his whole
okay.
character.
Yeah,
He's
he's just like
sexist.
actually like
Yeah, he-
overtly a bad person. Like he just met her.
Yeah, his first thing that he says to her is, "No one told me you would be so tall." And it's like, bro, what?
Yeah.
KO-ish people are a lot taller than
Yeah, they're like
our
freakishly
list.
tall.
I just
compared to
imagine
Arlish.
like she walks in and then she's just like, whoop.
Yeah.
Like just like a full head taller than him.
We love our tall queens over here.
Yep, we sure do.
Yeah. And then the queen also is just like a complete dunderhead. She's
Yeah,
just
she's just
yakking
an
about the
airhead.
plants.
Yeah.
Her personality is that she's a woman.
Yeah.
She's the blonde
She reminded me of
bimbo.
Dolly.
Yeah, the blonde bimbo.
She's literally Dolly, yeah.
Because the way it describes it is like she can't stop talking. There was not a single point in which she stopped talking. I'm like, she just like Dolly for real.
It was always on to the next topic.
Yeah, and it's mentioned that like, oh yeah, she's yakking a lot, and none of it is about her dead son. Like she's just like, oh
Why does
yeah,
she
the
wanna talk about-
flowers and the plants.
It's like, because we know that, there's like something to do with that. But like, from her, it just seems like, why does she want to talk about her dead son? Why is she like sad about it or something? What a weirdo.
Yeah,
Why she doesn't want to just trauma dump on me? What a weirdo.
and then she's like, you know what? I think maybe they like killed the prince, and she's like, yo, that's crazy. And she's like, yeah, because none of them seem to care. And then she's yakking
It's like,
with her
she's
father.
like incredibly suspicious when
Yeah.
she doesn't really need to be.
Yeah, she's just incredibly
She
suspicious
just-
off the bat.
She just has to know. She has to know.
She's very
whatever's
nosy.
actually happening.
She's very like standard female fantasy protagonist where she's
feels-
like, I need to know.
No, she feels like like one of those books that were meant to like go off of Nancy Drew. Like Nancy Drew's
Yeah.
popular, so they like
Yeah.
copycat books where it's like the female lead who's just like incredibly like inquisitive, wanting to know everything all the time.
It's very,
incredibly
like,
suspicious when she has no
standard-
reason to.
Yeah.
Like that's what it feels like.
Yeah.
Though to be fair,
that's her through the whole book, bro.
to be fair, if I was engaged to someone and I showed up and neither of their parents like even acknowledged that the person was dead, then I too would be like, all right, what is going on here? Why is nobody else sad but me? Like, what is going on? And
These
she's
people mourn differently than me. There must be something wrong with them.
and then they got another Sion, and he's yakking to her, and he calls her Eenie. I don't know what he's calling her. And he's like, yo, how's the wedding going? She's like, he's dead. She's like, okay. And then
Yeah, where she's talking to her dad.
yeah, yakking about
Like, what's up, Huz?
what's up, Buzz.
She's like, hey, Dad, my husband, let's just say he's dead.
He's dead. And by dead, I mean in his grave. And they're talking about how
Yeah, I do like it how her dad's a cool guy. Like not all the guys are awful.
her dad is pretty nice. It mentions like multiple times that when she was in Teod, like all the dudes there just pretty much hated her because she's like freakishly tall.
Yeah.
Which I feel like this. I've seen this exact character in like a bunch of other fantasies where
it's-
it's just like a girl that's way too tomboyish and no guy wants her.
And then
Yeah,
like
this
the
feels-
perfect guy comes
the
along.
perfect guy
Yeah.
comes along.
This feels like a version of Vin that I just like a little bit less,
Yeah, well,
Like,
the
no,
Vin's
well, a
way
lot
more
less.
dimensional than that. Like, yeah.
But because like this feels like Vin if Vin was written badly. Not badly, but if Vin wasn't
written very
as good as she is.
stereotypically.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like, and she's like, she had begun to feel that she knew him, and the person she constructed from those sheets of paper was a complex, compassionate man with whom she was very anxious
Yeah,
to meet.
she just-
and now she never would.
Yeah, she just read like the letters.
And she
then
felt
faced-
more alone. She felt rejected again,
But she read, like-
unwanted.
She
Just
read
like
letters
really
and
going into
FaceTimed
it.
him and then just made up this whole.
Yeah,
guy.
she
Like,
basically
like, she was
FaceTimed
just
him.
like she was just basically writing fanfic in her head.
This is how it feels to have a long distance relationship, guys.
Yeah, don't meet your long distance relationship. They will die on the way over there.
Yeah, and then she's like, yo, that's silly. This is a political marriage, father, and we all knew it. I am definitely not crying right now on this
then she-
FaceTime.
Yeah, because I believe it just says that she drops a single tear down her face, and I thought that was
Yeah.
very, very cheesy.
Yeah, and then her father's like, oh, honey, my little Sarene, or however's her name. And he's like, we need the treaty with Erlon far too badly. Our armada won't keep Fjorden off our shores for much longer. The
Yeah,
entire
which, like-
Svordish navy is under Weirin's command. It's a bunch of words just thrown at
These are a
you.
bunch of words that you have no idea what they mean at this point.
Yeah,
Like,
so Fjorden is one of the countries. The Svordish navy, I'm assuming, is their military. And then Wern is someone
He's like the
commanding
po-
something. Yeah, he's
Well, I mean, it says it in the next chapter.
yeah, he's basically the Pope.
Yeah, he's the Pope.
I do like this line here that's like, little Serene, all grown up now, her father said to the Sion Link, all grown up and fully capable of marrying herself off to a corpse.
I
did like that. Right? How ends the call with being like, "Yeah, I'm gonna tell your mom that you killed your husband."
Yeah.
And I'm like, that is.
Oh, your husband's dead.
Dead husband.
Yeah, it's
Haha, look, my spouse is alive and yours isn't.
yeah, it's pretty funny. And like, there's a whole conversation where their father's like, "What are you planning? What are you trying to do? What are you trying to do? Don't mess things up." And she's like,
Stay out of trouble. And then she's like,
"Don't worry."
I'm not going to. I'm going to get into trouble.
I like how he's like, "Go easy on them, licky stick," and it's like, what kind of name is that, bro?
so cringe.
It is pretty cringe. That is licky stick.
And they explain it too, and it just makes it more cringe.
Yeah. Yeah, I do like that. He ends off the call and he's like, "She's gonna faint dead away when I tell her you've already killed poor Raoden." I like Hrathen's introduction. None of Arlon's people greeted their savior when he arrived. It's a banger way to come in. Mm. And then there's like a whole section about how he had 3 months to convert the entire kingdom of Arlon. Otherwise, Holy Jaddeth, Lord of all creation, would destroy it.
Yeah, which is just a wild opening for
Yeah.
like the guy who you just met.
It's like, yo, you all gotta come to
Like-
Jesus or you are going to die.
Because this sounded just like this. I can't remember if it was Bible or Book of Mormon, but where it's like,
It feels pretty Bible. The Bible's the one where everybody just
it's one or
dies
the
all the
other.
time.
It's probably the Bible.
it
Book of
really-
Revelation.
Yeah.
no, because there's a specific story where it's like the guy and then God's like, "I'm going to destroy this city." It's like, what if I could find like some good people? And he's like, "Okay, what if I could find like 10 good people?" He's like, "Okay." And then he's like, "I can't find a single good person."
Is that the one where they take the city up into the sky? Because
No, that's
No,
what
wait, no,
they're
that's
all
not it.
good.
It's the one where you can't find a single good person in the city. So then God's like,
Oh, is
"Okay,
it-
we'll head out of the
it's the one
city
with
with your
the-
family because I'm gonna kill them."
Oh wait, yeah. It's
I-
the salt dude, where his wife looks back at the city and gets turned into a pillar of salt.
I think that might be it.
Yeah, you don't remember that story?
Yeah, because like
It's,
they're
like,
leaving the city,
famous.
and then God's like, "Don't turn back. I'm going to destroy the city, and if you
He's
look,
like, "Don't
I'm going
look
to
back."
kill you."
And then his wife looks
And
back
she
and
turns
gets turned
around.
into a pillar of
Yeah.
salt. Yeah.
Bro, that's
Yeah, you know the famous Bible or Book of Mormon story. I can't remember which one.
probably Bible.
It's the Bible. Yeah. I forget what the guy's name is, but it's, yeah.
Like that is wild. Like out of all the things, like he didn't just like kill her, like make her drop dead.
And made
like,
her a big pillar of salt.
Yeah, like
I wonder if he ate her after that.
I don't remember
He's like,
any
"No,
other
I
time
need
that
salt."
he does that. But like also at the time, salt was like incredibly valuable.
Oh, yeah.
So like if I was them, I simply would have picked up my now dead wife.
Real. Getting off the boat, and it mentions that to his left, the land slopes up to the Deathreki Mountains. So it is just mountains all along the back. I was right.
You know.
And
He goes into like the chapel where it's got the one priest, and he's like, "You suck! You suck at your job!
yeah,
Get out!"
is mentioned more stuff about all the kingdoms on the Sylan continent. Syclan. I'm bad with names. Sylan continent, a land named Opalon. Only Arlon had avoided domination by the Fjordal Empire. And he's like, "Yo, that's something I'm going to change."
Yeah. This is like the one place that's not part of the religion. And he's like, "You guys here are supposed to be converting people, and you haven't been."
I like
You
how
suck."
he's also wearing like blood red armor, just
Yeah.
full
Yeah.
armor as he walks in.
Yeah, just casually strolling around in full chainmail.
Yeah. I don't think it's even chainmail. It's like
it's full
Oh, it's like
metallic
plate
armor.
mail?
Yeah,
Yeah.
plates.
Gotcha.
it's described as like plates and stuff, just blood red, which is kind of epic. It makes me think of like something out of like Devil May Cry. I don't know. Yeah, and then he's going up to the chapel, and he's like following the pudgy dude, and who's like yapping about how, "Oh, I'm so sorry," and he's like,
Yeah,
"You are
yeah.
a loser." Yeah, Arteth, which the like priests are named Arteth.
Yeah, well, it's one of the titles of the hierarchy.
Yeah, which we learn a little bit more about later.
You know, but he's just like, "You suck. Your life serves zero purpose. You should kill yourself." Now."
Yeah, he's like, "Arteth, the ship that brought me here will leave for Fjorden in 1 hour. You were to be on board." And then he's like, "Yo, what?" And he's like,
Get out.
"Get out!" He says he has orders from Wern himself, and he's like, You've spent far too long in the Arlish culture. You've forgotten your holy calling and are unable to see the progress of Jadith's empire. And then he's like, these are pivotal times. The dude basically just talks like a page out of the Bible.
Yeah.
Just constantly yakking about how the world is going to end.
Yeah.
And he's like, God's power to come kill everyone.
Yeah. And he's like, okay, now that I got rid of that guy, it's time to get a new one. And he's like, I'm going to hold tryouts.
Like, the dude comes into the room and he's like, your sin was complacent, Arteth. Contentment has destroyed more nations than an army and has claimed the souls of even more than Elantris' heresies.
Mm-hmm.
Like, bro is just a Bible page.
Oh, yeah. And then he's just like, you want to see something cool? I got this page that was written by our God.
Yeah, the official seal of Wern himself. Yeah, so he sends the dude and the dude's like, okay, well, I guess if God really wrote this page, I kind of have to. And it's mentioned that he's a Gjorn. So a Gjorn is like the second highest below like Wern. And then you have the minor Dorvins who are under the Arteths. And then I think that's all of them that are mentioned.
Yeah, I believe so.
Yeah, because then it's Arteths.
Yeah, I love how they just have like 50 different vocab terms that it's like, better remember these. They're going to come in handy later.
Yeah. And he meets Arteth Dilaf, who is like a short dude who looks feudal, but his accent's kind of weird. And the dude's like basically just insane. Like the dude's actually just a psycho. And it's
Like crazy religious zealot, like obsessive.
like straight obsessive. One did not often find zealots in the Derethi religion. Such people were more often drawn to the frenzied lawlessness of the Jeskari mysteries than to the militaristic organization of Shu-Dereth. So that kind of gives you some insight into the feudal stuff is very like, it makes me think like Russia and super like brutalist military, like that kind of stuff. And then the Jeskari stuff is more like, weirdly makes me think of like New Orleans and that kind of more classy, but also urban and very like mystical stuff. They had this whole thing about how the dude's like, yo, I hate Elantrians. And the dude's like, yo, don't hate them. Bro, these are the ops. He makes the dude a full Ardith just so he can like control him. And he's trying to use him to like bring about Jadith's empire or whatever. And I like this. There's a section where he's like, are you sworn as any man's Odiv? Which is like a servant thingy, I guess. And the Dilaf's like, no. And he's like, okay, I'm going to make you mine so I can control you. And the dude's like, dang it. He wasn't supposed to know how to do that. And then he tells him to go follow the priest. And if he gets off the ship, kill him. And then, yeah, there's a whole bunch of stuff about how he's looking at the scroll. And then it shows the actual, like, thing, which is, behold the words of Jadeth through his servant Wern Wolfden IV, Emperor and King. High Priest and son, your request has been granted. Go to the heathen peoples of the West and declare to them my final warning. For while my empire is eternal, my patience will soon end. Not much longer will I slumber within a tomb of rock. The day of empire is at hand. My glory will soon shine forth, a second sun blazing forth from Fjorden. So
Pretty metal.
Yeah.
super metal, super Bible. Like apparently the Wern is the fourth Wern. That doesn't really tell us a lot, but he's the fourth. He's an emperor and he's in a tomb of rocks. So he's either dead or he's just like underground somewhere or something like that.
You wouldn't understand. This god is very underground.
Yeah, he's you probably never heard of him, and if you have, you wouldn't.
You'll
get
probably
it.
haven't heard of it. It's called game theory.
Basically, he tells him 3 months to like bring the people of Elantris and stuff over to the Fjorden sign, or he's gonna just kill them all. And then words of Jadeth, Lord of Creation, who's the guy underground, through his servant Wern Wolfden IV, prophet of Shu-Dereth, ruler of Jadeth's holy kingdom and regent of all creation. So this dude is basically just Jesus. And he's relaying God's words or whatever. Fjorden had its former glory regained after it lost hundreds of years ago when the First Empire collapsed. And then Arlon and Teod were the only two kingdoms who resisted their rule. And so this time Fjorden is like pushing to collect all of them, and that's why Hrathen is here. Yeah. And Hrathen has this whole speech about how if they didn't obey, their places would get destroyed, and he's the only thing standing between them and utter annihilation.
Yeah.
And he's like, yo, someday they will call me their savior.
Like, but for the first couple of chapters, it's just like super like heavy in terms of like all these new words and like all these religions and people and places. And it's like, this is a lot. Like I can keep track of like the basics of what's going on, but it's like this is a lot of stuff being said.
Yeah, it's very heavy on the beginning, but you do eventually warm up to it and eventually start remembering things.
Okay.
Yeah, it's super.
By the end of the book, I was familiar with all the terms.
They use the terms a lot, which is nice. Like, it's not something that gets answered and then or like brought up and then you're supposed to remember half the book later. It gets, like, the words get used a lot.
Okay.
So eventually you start recognizing them.
Yeah, but this was the chapter that I finished on.
Okay.
Like, I thought this was the 4th chapter.
Okay, yeah, that's chapter 3. So
we've already covered. It's already been going on a while.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're chilling.
Yeah. Did you have any notes to share, Patrick?
I mean, there's not much to say about the early on chapters. Like, I think Hrathen probably has the best introduction.
Yeah, his is very cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Raoden's
Holy Crusades are always like really cool plots.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is very like crusade-y. Raoden's is very like, I feel like it's less of an introduction as a character and more of like a setting introduction, because it doesn't really talk about him much. It's more about,
that's true.
It's more about the city, like, which is interesting because it almost treats the city like a character.
Yeah, it is also kind of interesting because like the 3 different characters all feel like pretty different. Like one of them feels like a Nancy Drew character. You know, one of them's like this prince.
He's a Gary Stu.
Yeah.
The Gary Stu.
Yeah, and then you have this like giant hulking Templar guy.
Maniac.
Yeah, like they all feel like very, very different characters. So I'm interested to see how they end up interacting because I'm assuming they meet each other. It'd be a really weird book because they went the whole thing without meeting each other.
Well, I'm sorry to tell you, but
yeah, just 3 separate stories, the entire
3
book,
separate stories,
and they never meet.
At the very end, like the very last page,
so
she sees someone coming in the distance, and he sees someone coming in the distance, and Hrathen like sees 2 people coming in the distance, and that's how the book ends.
He's just like, that's a big orb of light there. It's almost like the size of a
man. They're like, hey, nice armor, pal.
Yeah, nice armor, pal.
I like your skin.
Yeah, and then
damn, you're tough.
Yeah.
Yeah, she showed up and like,
dang. Yeah. Next week we'll be reading chapters 4 through 6. The chapter chunks for this book will be more sizable than usual, just because Patrick's already read the book, so I want to cook through it kind of fast. Yeah. Then once we get through this book, we'll go back to more manageable, like 2 chapters or 3 chapters, depending on the length, so the episodes don't run too long. But yeah, Baja Talks books. Next week, chapters 4 through 6. I'm your host, Baird, with my boy, Mr. Crazy.
Mr.
Crazy.
I thought you were going to say Mr. Krabs.
My boy, SpongeBob, my boy. Mm-hmm. Yeah. We'll see you guys next time. Bye-bye.